You are now listening to the Baseball Aficionado. Happy to be with you guys once more. Your host, Santos, the Baseball Aficionado. Before you do anything, please make sure that if you are watching on YouTube, give this video a like, comment, subscribe, and of course, the audio version of the Baseball Aficionado is available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I'm happy to announce that the merch is available, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. The merch is available. The Baseball Aficionado official apparel brand called Baseball Aficionado. If you go to bbaficionado.com, all the links will be below in the description of the audio as well as on the video. Go to bbaficionado.com. You get 10% off of your first purchase when you subscribe. Subscribe now. Go to the BB Aficionado. We have hats. We have T-shirts. We have sweatshirts, the whole thing. And of course, don't forget that this is your place for Latino baseball and more, the Baseball Aficionado. That's it. So without further ado, I want to get into the topic of discussion because as a lot of you know, the Baseball Hall of Fame inductees were announced for the 2025 class, that being Ichiro Suzuki, Sabathia, and of course, Billy Wagner. And for my Latino baseball fans, unfortunately, we did not get Carlos Beltrán, who just got 70% of the vote, as well as Andruw Jones, who got about 60-something% of the vote or so, which is a sham. It's a total sham. And so what I want to talk about on this episode is not only the sham that is the current Baseball Hall of Fame, the voting process, the way that they go about their business. It's just a real difficult thing to stomach right now. But I want to talk about, I guess, what they got right and what they got wrong. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to get right into it. So let's talk about Ichiro. You know, Ichiro is a Hall of Famer by any stretch of the imagination, by any word of the definition. Ichiro was an absolute dominant player, the first true Japanese superstar in the history of the game. You're talking about a guy who had, I mean, you can't say he had the five tools because he didn't have for power, but he did everything else. I mean, he could hit, he could throw, he could field, Gold Glove winner, multiple time All-Star, batting champion, cultural icon, all those things. But with all that being said, he was one vote shy of being unanimous, being voted in unanimously, which would have made him only the second player all time besides Mariano Rivera. Mariano Rivera from Panama, who obviously we know is the greatest relief pitcher of all time. I don't even think that's open for debate. Pero ¿qué pasa? Ichiro Suzuki fell one vote shy. And to that one voter, ese sinvergüenza que no votó por Ichiro Suzuki, listen, shame on you, buddy. Shame on you. I mean, what goes into the thinking that somebody has to try to punish a legend or a great baseball player like Ichiro Suzuki by deciding, no, I'm good. I'm not going to vote for him. But anyway, that person deserves to be dragged through the media. No doubt about it. I don't care what anybody says. That's a travesty. It's a mess. It's terrible. And so that's kind of like where I'm at when it comes to that. Obviously, Sabathia, played some years with the Yankees, the Guardians, the Indians back then, the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, was an absolute stud of a pitcher, has several records as a left-handed pitcher. I understand there's some people who feel like he wasn't the most dominant ace in the history of the game. For his era, I think he was one of the last of that generation to really be of that ilk of a starting pitcher, was an innings eater, was a horse, just really did great things with the baseball as a lefty, the strikeouts, the wins, the whole thing. I'm not mad that he's in. CC is in. Could you make the argument that he wasn't first ballot? Yeah, you could. You could make the argument. If we're being honest here, we're being, everything, all things equal. You could make the argument that CC Sabathia is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. You could make that argument that he's not first ballot, but he's in. He's there. You know, the way I look at it is when it comes down to it, if you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. So he's in, he's there, and he's deserving of that honor. Now, the one that I feel is up for debate is the third individual who got in, which is Billy Wagner. To me, yes, Billy Wagner. Now, I don't want to be a bad guy. I don't want to be the villain, but I am going to be the bad guy. I am going to be somewhat of a villain in this instance, in this situation. Why? I'll tell you why. You know, this was his 10th time on the ballot, okay, for Billy Wagner. We understand Billy Wagner has 400 plus saves, ERA is under 3, one of the more dominant relievers we've seen in recent memory, all those things, and that's valid. He was a very good pitcher, very good reliever, and all those things. Pretty well accomplished, the whole thing. But I guess my point is, it took the voters 10 times to figure out that he was a Hall of Famer. Like 10 times. Like if Billy Wagner was such a Hall of Famer, like a no doubt about it, right? Slam dunk candidate for the Hall of Fame. Why was he not voted into the Hall of Fame beforehand? I guess that's what I need to know. Why was he not voted into the Hall of Fame beforehand? And that's something that I just can't wrap my head around. And it's a fact. I mean, it's an absolute fact. And I feel like a lot of voters, a lot of times, they'll look at an individual, they'll look at a candidate, they'll say, okay, this guy is on his last ballot. I'm going to vote him in. He's on his last, he's on the 10th ballot. It's his last opportunity. Otherwise, he's going to fall off the ballot for good. And that's it. And blah, blah, blah. Entiende? Déjame votar por Billy Wagner. Oh, he was great. They look at the saves. They're like, oh, I'll put him in. No. I saw Billy Wagner blow so many big games, especially for the Mets. I remember when he was with the Mets, he wasn't quite as good for the Mets as he was for other teams. And I remember watching him. I'm like, bro, this guy is not, he was good, but he was not quite what, I mean, when he was with New York, you're watching across town, you're like, this guy ain't Mariano. I mean, I guess nobody's Mariano, but I'm saying, like, you're watching this guy, you're like, this is it? Like, this is who this guy is? But he had a great career, all things considered, especially for the, for the Astros, for the Braves, for the Phillies. Those were the teams where he pitched better, I think, in my opinion. But it's debatable whether he's a Hall of Famer. Like, if Billy didn't make the Hall of Fame, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I don't think it's the biggest travesty. I don't. It's a much bigger travesty, the fact that Carlos Beltrán did not get in the Hall of Fame, which is what I'm going to mention now, which is what I'm going to talk about. Carlos Beltrán. I'm not going to regurgitate. I don't want to bore the audience. I'm not going to regurgitate the same numbers I have. If you guys want to get into that, you can see a lot of the reels that I posted on Instagram through the past weeks and months, where I talk about the different accolades and the things that Carlos Beltrán has accomplished and has done throughout his career, which you can find me at the Baseball Aficionado on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok, BB Aficionado, all those things. So you could find all those things, and on YouTube as well, you could find my old videos as well where I talk about that. But my point is, regardless of all those things, we know the accolades, we know the numbers for a switch hitter, all those things, all-star, 5-tool player, at the greatest center fielder in the history of Latinos. I don't even think it's debatable, pound for pound, all around. Andruw Jones is the greatest defensive center fielder I've ever seen to come out of Latin America. So that's different. But Carlos Beltrán deserves to be there. And what they're doing is they are punishing Carlos Beltrán for what happened with the sign stealing things, with the sign stealing scandal. They're still punishing Beltrán. They love to punish Beltrán. They got to punish him. Oh, yeah, we're going to make him wait. We're going to make him wait. As if Carlos Beltrán, throughout these years, grabbed the bat, added more stats to his numbers, or, did something to compromise the stats that he already had. And the numbers are going to change. People, the numbers don't change. The numbers are still the same. If he was a Hall of Famer, his first year of eligibility, he's a Hall of Famer right now. So What's the difference? I just don't understand, like, what is the, keep that energy, guys. Keep that energy. Like, let's be consistent, right? So it's like they just do anything, any and everything to prevent Beltrán. They just want to come up with these excuses for why Beltrán shouldn't be there, or they want to punish him. They want to make him suffer for the sign stealing scandal, which I understand. Carlos took part in the sign stealing scandal, but here's the deal. Here's the issue that I have compartmentalizing or coming to terms with. The issue I have with this whole situation is as follows. Okay, the issue is that Carlos did not act alone in this whole thing. They try to say, oh, well, you know, Beltrán was the mastermind behind the whole sign stealing thing and using technology to do that. Okay, you think he was the mastermind behind that? What ownership group or general manager would allow for this to happen? Or how stupid could everybody be, right? You think there weren't clubhouse attendants? There weren't other people who were involved? Jeff Lunau, all these people, Jim Crane, the people who work in the stadium. You think none of them knew about any of these things? None of them. You think nobody played a hand? Or you think, what, you think that Carlos Beltrán did everything himself? You think he was what, putting up the cameras, banging on the drums, or the como es, el zafacón, banging on the garbage cans and wiring systems and however the hell they decided to do it? You think Beltrán acted alone on all that? No, no. So my thing is, yeah, let it go. It happened already. He suffered the consequences. He lost out on a managerial job with the Mets, didn't get another opportunity, and he's had to wait to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. I think ya Beltrán ya pagó por lo que él hizo. Ya, está bueno ya. Okay, it's done. You know, everybody else has been allowed to move on except for Carlos Beltrán. Like, that's not fair. Alex Cora got another job. The manager who used to manage with the Astros manager got another job. AJ Hinch got another job. Like, what are we doing? Like, everybody's been allowed to move on. Nobody talks about the owners of the Astros. Like, the ownership knew about this. How come nobody blames ownership? Nobody blames ownership. Everybody wants to blame Altuve, Beltrán for what they want. You know, they just want to blame them as if they have some master plan where nobody else knew anything except them. No, it was an intricate scheme that a lot of people partook in, and it's not like Beltrán gained so much out of this, because Beltrán was on his last legs. He was essentially a player coach at that point. Beltrán wasn't even half of what he used to be at that point. He was, you know, look at the numbers he put up. It's not like it benefited him. You know, it's not like you're telling me he's in his prime and he hit 56 home runs or something like that and put up ridiculous stats. No, he was already, you know, declined. He's already a declining player at that point. So just no use in continuing to hearken on the same nonsense. So that's my opinion, though. Last but not least, Andruw Jones. Andruw Jones, the greatest defensive center fielder I've ever seen. His WAR is above 60. This guy hit over 400 home runs. I think he's trending towards the right direction to get in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be another one who, as the years have gone on, we've kind of looked at his numbers and we've had an opportunity to reflect and be able to see, understand the worth and the value of one Andruw Jones. And so he was just an amazing player. Andruw Jones was one of those guys who, like I said, he's the greatest defensive center fielder I have ever seen. I've never seen a defensive center fielder that good. He made every play look easy. Just the way he played the game, the way he went about his business was great. Bursted on the scene as a 19-year-old for the Atlanta Braves, playing in that World Series against the Yankees. Was just an amazing player. And for that, I have to give credit. I have to give credit for that. And I do believe his time will come. So yo quiero ver en el 2026 cuál sería la excusa de los votantes, de los escritores, ¿verdad? What would be the excuse in 2026? Let me read some names for this potential 2026 class. I just need to do this because this is going to be great. Let's read this, okay? Let's see. 2026 Hall of Fame ballot. Okay, guys, you guys ready for this star-studded ballot for 2026? Let's go right here, okay? Chase Utley, right? Does anybody here in their right mind think Chase Utley's a Hall of Famer? I don't. I know there's some people who think that he is. No, 64.5 WAR. That's a good WAR. I'm not gonna lie. 259 home runs, 1,025 RBI, 275 batting average, career 823 OPS was very good. Not a Hall of Famer. Andy Pettit remains on the ballot. No, not a Hall of Famer. Alex Rodriguez, we understand the situation. Manny Ramirez, we understand the situation. Who else? So these are guys who are left over. Felix Hernandez, second year. Dustin Pedroia, no. All right, here we go. Ready? The first timers. Sorry about that. Here are the first timers. Cole Hamels. Is Cole Hamels a Hall of Famer? Ryan Braun. Alex Gordon. Shin Soo Chu. Edwin Encarnacion. Howie Kendrick. Nick Markakis. Hunter Pence. Gio Gonzalez. Matt Kemp. Jason Kipnis. Daniel Murphy. Rick Porcello. Matt Wieters. Jeff Samardzija, Chris Davis, Kelvin Herrera, and Edinson Volquez. Come on, guys. Come on. Who are we fooling here? No. So if I had a vote for next year, which I'm hoping that, again, I think next year is the year that Beltrán and hopefully Andruw Jones get in. I feel like these are the guys who deserve to be in. Every writer gets to check off at least 10 names to vote into the Hall of Fame, but you don't need to vote for 10 every year if you don't feel that there are 10 who are worthy of your vote. So the way I would vote it for next year, if it were me, 2026, this would be my Hall of Fame ballot as follows. This would be it. Carlos Beltrán, yes. Andruw Jones, yes. Alex Rodriguez would get my vote. He would be in the Hall of Fame. So that would be 3 for me. And then looking at everybody else, David Wright, no. Ryan Braun, no. Bobby Abreu, no, I'm sorry. Jimmy Rollins, no. Omar Vizquel. If it wasn't for the crazy thing that he did off the field, I would say yes, but no. Yeah, that's it. That would be my ballot. My ballot would just be Carlos Beltrán, Andruw Jones, not Manny Ramirez. I would not vote for him, although he was a great player. I just feel like he was more of a product of steroids. That's me. That's my opinion. Manny Ramirez was more of a product of steroids than Alex Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez, yes, I would vote him in. And those would be my votes. Felix Hernandez, I need more time to analyze. I think it's close with Felix Hernandez, but he didn't have the long career that I think many of us feel like he could have had or should have had. But so that's it. You guys saw that week 2026 Hall of Fame ballot, and it is what it is. But I have faith and I have hope that Carlos Beltrán, Andruw Jones get in next year. The class is significantly weaker, but we'll see if there are more excuses to be made. But let me know, guys. What do you think? Does something need to change in the Hall of Fame voting process? Is the Hall of Fame becoming watered down? What do you guys think? Let me know. I'm curious to know your thoughts. Definitely follow me on social media. Comment on YouTube, the whole thing. And, of course, don't forget to check out Baseball Aficionado, the store. We got the shop set up. Definitely check it out. Get 10% off of your first purchase. And away I go. So, and, of course, as always, live life as if you're in a 3-2 count. Until next time.